GRT continues to see some breakdown moves after losing our last line of support that lies between the 0.164 and the 0.1456, and at the time of this recording we have also lost the 20-day MA here on the 4-hour chart, flipping it back into resistance. And on today's video I will be discussing the alternative scenarios that we need to have in mind, and above all discuss the last line of support that we need to continue holding above here on the daily chart. So make sure that you stick around till the end of the video, and starting the video by first giving you a recap of what I have been expecting, basing my analysis on the Elliot structures. I had this scenario where we saw this 1-2 setup to the upside, then we continued to obey the Elliot structures where we first picked in these Elliott wave count 1, we started a pullback in an Elliott wave count 2 into the minimum target areas highlighted on the charts using these blue markings, and that is an area that we have now fully maximized, and we are now breaking to the lower side of the target area, and that means that we have now hit invalidation points for these 1-2 setup and the Elliott wave structure. And that means that now I have to give you the alternative scenario. And the alternative scenario is that whatever is playing out at the moment is an impulsive movement to the lower side, having this as a wave 1. Then we saw this bounce as a wave 2 to the upside. And whatever is playing out at the moment is another impulse to the lower side in an Elliott wave count 3, before we can see a bit of a short-term bounce in a wave 4, and then finally see one more new low in an Elliott wave count 5. And the minimum target areas for these Elliott wave count 3 can be given using the trend-based Fibonacci, connecting it from the high that we made in that wave 1 to the low of that wave 1, then dragging the fibs to the lows, the highs that we made in that wave 2, giving me a minimum target area at the fib ratios 1:1, and that lies above the 0.1334. So in the next coming hours, there are high chances that GRT is going to fully maximize the fib ratios 1:1, give us a low in place for this wave 3, and give us a bit of a short-term bounce in an Elliott wave count 4, before we can finally see one more new low in an Elliott wave count 5 to the lower side. We also need to have in mind that in case we see GRT fully maximizing the fib ratios 1:1 and still has that bearish momentum to push the price even lower, we can easily maximize the fib ratios that is the fib level 1.618, and that lies above the 0.1045. So those are the two target areas that we need to have in mind in case we continue seeing these breakdown moves. We also need to have in mind that on the daily chart, we need to continue holding above the fib level 0.88, and that is better explained using the Elliott wave structures, where I still believe that we got our bear market lows last year and started an impulsive movement to the upside that peaked above the 0.4947, giving us the high for these Elliott wave count 1. Then we started a pullback in an Elliott wave count 2, whose minimum target areas I have marked on the charts using this blue target area, an area that I came up with using the Fibonacci's, pulling the fibs from the low of the first wave to the high of this Elliott wave count 1, giving me a minimum pullback target area between the fib level 0.5 and the fib level 0.78 as a maximum, an area that we have not fully maximized. And at the time of this recording, we are just slightly holding above the fib level 0.88 that lies above the 0.1289, and this is the last line of support on the Fibonacci's. And if by any chance we lose this area on the Fibonacci's, then I will be expecting a total breakdown move to give us a reset of the bear market lows that we made last year below the 0.0785 in the next coming days. So my biggest fear is GRT losing the fib level 0.88 and giving us a total reset of the bear market lows. So for us to still expect higher prices in an Elliott wave count 3, that is the last line of support that we need to see GRT holding. And on losing it, expect total disaster, giving us a reset of the bear market lows. And that is all I'm expecting on the short term and also on the long term. And let's be patient and see how that plays out. And I will be keeping you up to date.